Today we're going to be doing some word problems that are based on people's ages at different points in time. So it's kind of fun to think about it as, oh, we get to think about a little bit of time travel, going back in time, going forward in time. How old were people back then? How old will they be in the future? So you'll be seeing problems that look something like this, and you just kind of have to keep straight. Which time are you in? Present, past, future, exactly where? This one wants us to find how old they each are now. So for now, I'm going to come up with my variables. M is how old the man is now, and I think I'll go with S for how old the son is now. This problem also talks about in 10 years, 10 years from now. So tell me in 10 years, just how old will they each be at that point in time? If they're M and S now, how old will they each be 10 years from now? I hope not times 10. I hope 10 years from now I am 70 something, not 10 times my current 60 something. Plus is what we need on both of those. So the man will be M plus 10 and the son will be S plus 10. You don't necessarily have to write that part down on your papers when you're doing these from a problem set, but that's kind of your starting point of thinking. Then using those that we've just thought about, let's set up our equation. So right now, the man is 13 times as old as his son. So I need to use the M and the S because that's how old they are now. Right now, the man is 13 times the son's age. In 10 years, so for this part, I have to use the M plus 10 and the S plus 10. The man, so the M plus 10 will be 3 times how old the son will be. And then we have a system of those two equations to solve. And it looks to me like substitution would be pretty darn easy. I can just take and put this 13s in for the m so that I have 13s, and I have my plus 10 equals 3 times the whole parentheses s plus 10. And I would like for you to solve that much on your own. And then we'll see if we all get the same answers. Find both m and s up here. So let's see if I can come up with what you guys just told me you got. I've got 13s plus 10 is 3s plus 30. If I subtract 3s on both sides, this side is 10s. If I subtract 10 on both sides, that side is 20. So the son is 2 years old. And then I'm going to come back to this equation. The man is 13 times that 2. So the man is 26 years old. And that's what you also said that you came up with. And I'm going to just give you a tip to make sure you kind of get yourself in the practice. Go back and reread. Did you really answer what they asked you? How old are they now? We found M and S, that is how old they are now. There will be some problems ahead this year and or next year where you go through all of this, but the final question wasn't how old are they now? The final question might have been how old will they each be in 20 years? So then you'd add 20 onto each of those for your final answer. So just be careful, and we've talked about that on other word problems too. Always reread, make sure you've answered everything they actually asked. Questions with that one? Let's do 2 more and then it'll be work time. So 5 years ago, we have some information. 10 years from now, and they don't tell us anything about how the ages are related now, but we are supposed to find how old they are now. So I'm going to go with B and K for how old they are now. So if I want 5 years ago, What do I need to do for their ages 5 years ago, Cooper? I need to subtract the 5. 5 years ago, they were b minus 5 and k minus 5. So if I've time traveled back 5 years, I have to use the b minus 5 and the k minus 5 to set up this relationship. So Ben, back in time, was b minus 5, was 2/3, and back in time, Chris was k minus 5. What do I need to do, Austin, for 10 years from now? So 10 years from now, I need to use the b plus 10 and the k plus 10, and I need to write down this information. Off in the future, Ben, so future Ben is b plus 10, will be 5/6 times future Chris, so k plus 10. And one of the things we've learned to do so we don't get ourselves too messed up is let's distribute first before we worry about getting rid of the fractions. So b plus 10 is 5/6 k plus 50 over 6. And same thing here, b minus 5 is 2/3 k minus 10/3. How many of you love fractions? No hands up? All right, let's multiply everything in this one by a 3. And we have 3b minus 15 is 2k minus 10. And over here on this one, what should we multiply by? Good. So 6b plus 60 equals 5k plus 50. We could clean those up a little bit. We could say 3b minus 2k. And then if I add my 15 to both sides, I have equals 5. Make sure I'm getting that right. As always, check my work. And this one could be 6b minus the 5k, but then I need to subtract 60. And is a negative 10 really right on that one? I'm doing this a little bit differently than what I did before, maybe when I set these up. Did I get that set up right? Okay, I would now like for you guys to finish solving that system. And again, put your pencils down and look up when you have both Ben's and Chris's ages. So how did you do elimination? Nothing's ready to eliminate just yet. Right, but how did you get something that'll cancel? So if we take this times -2, a negative 6b plus 4k is negative 10. Is that what you had? And then doing that as a system, minus k is minus 20. So Chris is 20 years old. And that's what you guys just told me you got for Chris's age. And then help me out here. Emily, which one did you go back to then to get Ben's age? There's a bunch of choices there. Which one did you find worked easily? Yeah, we've got Chris. Which do you go back to? Oh, you did Ben's first? Okay, where should we substitute that 20 to get Ben? So you went back to this one right here, not going back with the fractions. I don't blame you. So 3b minus 2 times that 20 needs to be 5. This is a minus 40, so we're going to add 40. So if 3b is 45, that means b for Ben is 15 years old. And do we have any questions on that one? Then one more. So 30, so we're just time traveling back in time, 30 years ago and 20 years ago. So 30 years ago, what are we going to do for Emma's age? So E minus 30, and Mary would have been M minus 30. So everybody write down an equation for that first sentence. 30 years ago, so E minus 30 was 1 year older than twice Mary's age then, which was the M minus 30. And so, Allie, what do you have for that first equation? Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you guys think? Is that the correct way to translate the first sentence from English to math? Okay, then let's get our second one set up here. Now 20 years ago. So that means Mary was how much? M minus 20, and Emma was E minus 20. See if you can write down your equation for Mary, that M minus 20 was 4/5 Emma's age. And Griff, what does that one look like? Everybody good with that? And we need to do some cleaning up on both of these. So M minus 20 is 4/5 E minus 16. And then maybe multiply all of that by a 5 to get rid of that denominator. So 5M minus 100 is 4E minus 80. Does that seem about right on that one? Is that what you guys are getting? As always, be sure you're double checking my work as we go through these. And if we clean up the one on the left, that minus 60 plus 1 could be a minus 59. So maybe a substitution. And then if I add 30 to both sides, I've got a minus. That's not another equals there. Sorry about that. To minus 29. Does that look right for the substitution? And then I'd like for you to put that in for this E and see if you can solve first for Mary's age and then go back and get Emma's age. So help me out here. So let's see, you guys just said we kept the, actually I'm gonna go ahead and add 100 just so I don't have to write as much on that. 5M is equal to 4 times the 2M minus 29, and now I have a plus 20, so that's 8M minus 116 plus 20. So subtract my 8M minus 3M is minus 96. Divide both sides by negative 3. M is 32. Is that what you said you got for Mary? So Mary is 32 years old. And then that should be pretty easy. Bring that back and plug in. And Emma will be 2 times that, minus 29. So 64 minus 29. Emma is 35 years old, as you guys just said you got. And double checking, was I asked to find their ages now or some other time? So now is what we wanted. Any questions on today's lesson? All right, good job. Thank you for your participation, and we'll work on homework.